Greetings, peace to everyone. I know it's been a while since I've been on. Okay, so as you can see from the title of this video, I'm here today to talk about sacrifice. So I pulled up the definition of the word sacrifice before we begin, and I'll just go ahead and read it to you. And according to the dictionary, it says that sacrifice is an act of slaughtering an animal or person or surrendering a possession as an offering to God or to a divine or supernatural figure. That is the first meaning, that is when it's used in the context of a noun. As a verb, it says to offer or kill as a religious sacrifice. All right. So as we can tell from the definition, to sacrifice doesn't necessarily require someone or require the killing or the slaughtering of an animal or a person. All right. You can also choose to surrender a possession as an offering. All right. A lot of people believe that the act of sacrifice is dead. Some people don't even consider sacrifice, which is very sad because when you don't consider sacrificing and it's necessary, it has never died, it has always been, it always will be, which means that it's necessary and it still takes place on a daily basis, whether it is willing or if it is unwilling. Sacrifice will take place. But as a means of taking control of your life, it is best or it is advised that you willingly sacrifice. All right? And sacrifice does not mean giving up something that you no longer want or that you don't desire or that is worthless to you. Like for instance, if you have clothes that you no longer want, they don't mean anything to you. If anything happened to the clothes, it really doesn't mean anything to you. It's not a loss or anything. And you take these clothes and you give them to someone, you take them to the Salvation or army or something like that. You're not sacrificing at all, okay? Because what you're doing is you're just trying to get rid of something that you no longer want. So that which is considered something that you no longer want, it is actually something that is dead. All right. So to give that is actually not a sacrifice. All right. That is not a sacrifice at all. What you're doing is you're giving charity. And that is very different from giving a sacrifice. To sacrifice something would require you to give up something that you have an attachment to, that you desire, that you don't want someone else to have. Okay? And if you're going to offer it up to a deity, you definitely want to offer something that is worthy to you, something that has some value to you. Because what you're doing is you're putting that thing, you're setting it apart. Okay? So you're making it sacred. And you're making it sacred unto whomever or whatever it is that you are sacrificing to. Those type of sacrifices are greatly appreciated. The more the object means to you, the more it's going to mean to that deity that you have sacrificed to. Okay? Sacrifices are generally made as a means to restore the balance, to either create or restore the balance. Also as a way to maintain a balance in your life. Okay? So say for instance, if you're sick and you're really not sure what's wrong with you, the first thing that you would do is you would probably change your diet. Okay? You would probably go to a bland diet. And you really don't want to do that because now you got to sacrifice all your seasonings. You have to give up sugar and things of that nature, and probably just completely change your diet whatsoever, eliminate some things that you normally eat as a means to allow your body to heal itself, to find out what the problem is. You understand? That right there is a sacrifice. And at the same time that you're giving up things, you're also focusing on healing, to restoring your health. And that generally, if you don't have a really bad illness, that is usually enough to heal yourself, to make yourself feel better, or to at least to find out to the bottom or get to the root of the problem. And from there, you'll know what to do. Okay? And believe it or not, another means of sacrifice, let's say, for instance, if you're in a relationship with someone, right? And this person that you are in a relationship with is someone that you really, really, really love. But this person is no longer good for you, or this person is no good for you because they're not treating you well, okay? And you really don't want to give this person up, but you want to make your life better, okay? You want to get rid of all the turmoil and all the chaos in your life, all right? So the ancestors would say, all right, if you want to make things better for yourself, then you need to sacrifice that person, or at least sacrifice how you're dealing with that person, or at least sacrifice how you're dealing with that person in order to have a better grade or a better standard of living. All right. And even though you don't want to give that person up, you would still go ahead and sacrifice that person. Give them up. You understand? So that way you can make room for something else to come into your life, something else that will suit you better. This would go for anything. A job, like I said, people in your life, things in your life, um, places that you dwell, anything that is of a value to you, but you know that it no longer suits a purpose in your life, it's taking up space, but you don't want to really give it up. If you give that up, you will start to create a better standard of living for yourself. And here's the thing, sacrifice is so important, is so very important that if you do not do it willingly, then it will be forced upon you, which is the reason why we have so many things taking place in our personal lives that we don't want to happen. We're losing things in our personal lives that we don't want to lose. Okay? And not only in our personal lives, but even worldwide, all over the earth. Okay? If we are holding on to things that no longer serve us a purpose, then we are going to lose even more. Okay, so it is better to willingly sacrifice. If you have something or someone in your life um, who you know is not good for you, or you know that it's not good for you, go ahead and give them up. So that way you can create a better standard of living for yourself. Such things as, let's say, for instance, if you have an intense desire for sweets, okay, but you may be diabetic or on your path to becoming a diabetic, and it's like really, really hard for you to give those things up. Go ahead and make the sacrifice, all right, and give it up. The ancestors will be so grateful for that sacrifice. You understand? And it will help you to reverse situations and make them work in your favor. And we've already said people, if you have people in your life who you love so much, but they're creating all kind of problems for you, go ahead and sacrifice them. That doesn't mean kill them. It means to detach yourself from them. Okay? Detach yourself from them. It doesn't necessarily have to be physically. You can detach from them emotionally. So that way they can no longer have that hold on you. All right? Even you can even go as far as sacrificing beliefs that you're holding on to that no longer serve a purpose in your life, but you really don't want to give them up because that's all you have. You understand? You have nothing else to believe in. You can go ahead and sacrifice that, and you'll be given something else to believe in, something that is suitable for you, something that is more effective for you, something that again will help to create a better standard of living for yourself. Sacrificing is like a sister or a brother to fasting. You understand? Fasting just requires you to give up something for a period of time, whereas sacrifice requires you to cut it loose altogether. Don't even go back to it. You know? Like say for instance, and a lot of people believe that fasting is always associated with food, not eating, not drinking. There are so many things that you can fast from. You can fast from little things like cursing. If you're like a heavy cursor, um, someone who uses, I don't even want to call it foul language because it is a means of expressing yourself. It depends on how you look at it, but cursing, using what you call what is so-called bad words, you can fast from that, um, along with eating and drinking. If you're a person who likes to sit on the couch and watch TV all day, you can take one day and say, you know what, I'm going to fast from TV. I'm not going to watch TV today. You know, if you are a person who talks a lot, you can say, okay, I'm going to fast today. I'm going to fast from talking. Today is Saturday, matter of fact, and this is my fast day. Me and my family, we usually fast on Saturdays, and we just generally just fast from eating up until a period of time. But sometimes, you know, like with my family, you know, like say for instance, with one of my girls, it's really easy for her to fast from food. But one of the things that's hard for her to do is study. She don't like to study. You know how kids are; they don't like to study. So what I have started doing is I have started making her study on Saturdays because it's something that she really hates to do. So that is a fast. Instead of sitting around and not doing anything, study. That's a fast. You're fasting from something that you would normally do, something that gives you pleasure. Okay. Um, and you're doing something that you don't like to do, but you know if you do it, it's a good thing. It's very necessary. So that is also something that you can fast from. All right. Doing things that you don't like to do, but doing them because you know it's necessary. That is a fast as well. Um, some people can't fast from eating. You know, they may have some health issues. There are so many other things, like I said, you can fast from. If you're a person who loves to have fun and play all the time or whatever, pick a day of the week that is convenient for you and you fast. The reason why I choose Saturdays to fast because it corresponds. Saturday is governed by the planet Saturn, and Saturn corresponds with abstinence or abstaining or practicing some sort of um, religious exercise that allows you to uh, stay away from things for a period of time until you have gotten control over them. You know, like for instance, if you are a heavy marijuana smoker, it could be difficult for you to fast from marijuana because that's something that you love and it allows you to go in deep and meditate and things of that nature. But still, in all, you just can't, that's not something that you can do all the time. It is necessary to fast from it as a means to get control over it. All right. And that's what fasting is about. Fasting is about gaining control over the things that have control over you. If you feel like doing something, sometimes it doesn't mean that you have to do it. You have to be able to say no. You have to be able to resist and say no, even though the urge is pulling you and is driving you towards uh, smoking or drinking or whatever. If you are able to stand up to that urge and say no and don't do it, then you're also fasting. And at the same time, you may be sacrificing as well. There's a lot of sacrifice going on right now. Sacrifices being made right now in the world. Um, and it's taking place on a very, very large scale. Lives are being sacrificed. Okay? And these sacrifices that are being made are going to work against the people who are actually making the sacrifices. So that's why I say you know you want to make sure that you are making sacrifices that are acceptable to the deities that you're sacrificing to. Otherwise, it is going to work against you. So, I just want to touch a little bit on that. I didn't want to go too deep into that, but I just wanted to say, because the reason I decided to do this video this morning, because when we got up this morning, you know, my older daughter, she was like, "Oh, isn't this the day that we fast? The day we fast?" Because I woke up kind of hungry this morning, and she's like, "Oh no, we're fasting today." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I forget every Saturday. I be hungry. I wake up hungry." So I was like, "Oh yeah, you're right. We are fasting." She was like, "Oh well, I'm not fasting today because I fasted yesterday." I said, "Oh okay." I said, "Well, did you fasted yesterday with the intent of what?" And she looked at me with this look on her face, like she was lost. I said, "Okay, well, let me explain something to you. If you didn't eat yesterday up until a certain time, right? But you didn't have any intent in mind or no purpose in mind other than you didn't eat because you didn't have the time, you're not fasting. Okay. That is a fast that is unwarranted because you didn't do it for uh, a deity, or you didn't do it with an intent or a purpose in mind. You just did it because you didn't have time to eat because you were so busy. That is not fasting. That is not acceptable. You know how many people do that? That is not acceptable. When you fast, you have to do it with an intent in mind. The same thing with sacrifice. When you sacrifice, you do it with an intent in mind, a purpose in mind. When you do that, you're making the connection with the deity, and they're open and they say, okay, we're going to receive or we won't receive. And you'll always know when your sacrifice is accepted, because after the pain and sorrow that you deal with in the process of sacrificing, after that comes pleasure, a great pleasure. You understand? You feel really good about yourself, or you may even receive gifts um, that are unexpected from other people. Something good will happen in your life. You know, the thing with sacrifice is after you've sacrificed, you keep your eyes open and you'll know whether or not if it's accepted. Also, sacrifice is something that comes with pain. Not necessarily pain, but sorrow. Okay? So while during the time that you're sacrificing, you're going to feel it. And it's going to manifest as some form of sorrow. You understand? You're going to feel it. If you don't feel any of that while you're sacrificing, then believe me, it is a sacrifice that comes in vain. This is the Black Moon. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Like I said, this was a short video in relation to sacrifice. I hope you all gained something from it. I look forward to speaking with you again. Until then, peace.